Okay, Troy Weaver, you did it again. You did something, you animal.
Did
In
it.
this dead period, you're like, you know what, we're gonna do something. So the
Let's make a
Pistons
little
trade for
trade.
this man right here, Boyan, and let's see who'd
You
we give
said
up?
it.
Boyan, Kelly
Kelly
Olynyk,
Olynyk.
and Saban Lee. This is Craig's old favorite guy that
It's
he
not
Saban
true.
Lee and Kelly Olynyk. Which, if I said, okay, we're gonna get rid of those two and get somebody, you'd be like, okay, that's fine. Let's see what we get. Um, Nothing hurt here, right, Craig? So, initial thoughts when you
No.
see this man's coming to Detroit. What are your initial thoughts for what we gave up? Which, see ya.
Okay. Initial thoughts. Pretty simple. We needed more depth at the 3-4.
Mm-hmm.
We had Sadiq Bey. We had Isaiah Livers. And then we had a bunch of guys where it's like, well, Burks could probably play the 3, right? Well, Cade could probably slide over to the 3 in 3-guard lineups, and it was just like, no, we need more depth at the 3-4.
Yeah.
We only have one proven starter. And is Isaiah Stewart a 4? I don't know. So we had a place that we had not a lot of depth. So we get a guy who plays a 3 and can slide into the 4. We had way too much depth at the 5 when you had Jalen Duren and Nerlens Noel and Isaiah Stewart
Mm.
and Kelly Olynyk. And it's just like, where are we going to get minutes for all these guys? Like, remember we talked about that? So it's a combination of we get rid of a guy, Kelly Olynyk, don't even want him.
Bye.
Saban Lee, like, see ya, right? And it's okay. And Saban Lee, who he wasn't going to make the team. Like, we had 17 players and we need to get down to 15. He wasn't going to make the team. He's a great G League player, but not all good G League players are good NBA players.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with that. And we get a guy who fills our other biggest need,
and
3-point shooting.
and and the big thing that you and I are
It's
just like,
great.
wait a second. So your initial thoughts were like, yep, know him, know he can shoot, like he can score, right? And then
Yeah.
you have the stats where it's like you and I were just
Dude.
like, wait a second, he's averaging what? Oh, he
He's
did that.
averaging.
He's done that
Yeah.
consistently.
Yeah. Over the last 4 years, he's averaged 18, 17, 20, and 18 points per game, while his lowest 3-point shooting percentage was 38.7. He
Yeah.
is averaging over 40% from 3 over the last 5 years, over 40%. Like, the guy can shoot, he can score, he does it with old man moves
Mm-hmm.
and just slow, methodical moves, but oh my goodness, he gets the job done. You wouldn't imagine a guy at this. So you're a little nervous because you're like, oh, he's like 33, 34, something like that. So you get a little nervous, but then all of a sudden you're like, well, he never uses athleticism anyway. So what's the
Exactly. Great
point?
point. Right. He's not
Yeah.
relying on that anyway,
That's
and
why
he's
PJ
just
Tucker can keep playing.
yeah. So this is, and I love this. I know it's apples to oranges, but like Olynyk's averaging 9 points a game. Saban
Yep.
Lee, nothing. I mean, just nothing, right? So
Nothing.
you double your point production, and you get at a position that we actually need. Versus, I mean, Olynyk's not getting 9 points per game this year. He's just not going to be in enough to do that. So it's like,
I think
see ya,
so.
and now we've got 18 points a game. That seems too good to be true. Why do you think the Jazz would do this? Are they
Yeah.
just totally going rebuild or what?
Fully rebuild. So they traded Gobert for like 5 first-round picks.
Oh
Then
yeah,
they traded
yeah,
Donovan Mitchell for 6
yeah, yeah, yeah.
first-round picks. So they're like, all right, we need to get rid of everyone. But here's the thing that I don't understand. This feels like a steal to
Mm-hmm.
me because we get rid of Kelly Olynyk, who had 2 years left on his contract. So I think his contract was worth somewhere around 12.5, right? 12.5, 13, somewhere in there. Saban Lee was like 1.8. So we're gonna and Boyan, so sorry. His contract is 19-ish million. So we're gonna take on a little bit of money this year, but his contract's up at the end of this year.
Mm.
So you get to see, all right, maybe he's a little bit old. Is that a problem? Well, if it is, we move on and automatically clear almost 20 million in cap space. Like, it helps our salary cap situation going forward. It helps our floor spacing. It helps our overall talent level. And it's just amazing to me. It seems like a complete steal. Like, I thought there'd be draft picks or something. Like,
Yeah,
with the
that
Jazz, they're basically just like, we give up. It's
well,
over for us.
Troy Weaver's ability to do this combo thing, and this is a perfect example where he's able to get the player and still function and develop, and there's future, and we still keep the flexibility. It's like, dude, thank you. That's awesome, because now we get a real look at Cade and everybody this year with a real
Yes.
team. It's not the same. It's not just like,
Thank you.
hey, let's try this out. It's like, we've actually got you some pieces here. With center piece is nice too. And oh, by the way, next year we'll look at it, and we've got the ability. We're not stuck with this for 3 years. We'll look at it, see what
That's
we
right.
need to do. If we need to move on, we can. And that is like, dude, expiring contracts are worth everything in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's like, just, you can, so much thing you can do with it. So it's awesome.
So much you can do with it. And then it's like, hey, Ivy, we know you're best when you're attacking the basket, so you need spacing. So imagine Ivy on the floor with Cade and Sadiq Bey and Bojan Bogdanovic and Isaiah Stewart. So you have 4 other guys that can shoot around him. And we all of a sudden go from a team where it's like, we need more shooting, or maybe he's in there with Burks who can shoot. Like, we go from a team, it's like, we need more shooting, to, oh, actually, we got some pretty good shooting. Like, with one trade. And I remember when we had it was Chris, right? The guest, or
Yeah.
Steve. We had him on, and I asked him the question during summer league, do the Pistons have enough spacing? Do they have enough 3-point shooting? He said yes. I disagree. And apparently Troy Weaver disagrees too, because he went out and got more shooting. And you can be like, well, Kelly Olynyk was a good shooter. No, Kelly Olynyk shot 32% last year. Like, he can be a good shooter, but you have to wonder if he's at a stage in his career where his legs are shot. Like,
Oh
and
my
he
God.
just doesn't have it anymore. I don't know.
And if I would have said, hey, Craig, pick 2 players from the Pistons that you just go, it's not
Don't
going to
care
hurt.
about.
I don't even want to think about it. You just have to name 2, and you can't really look at it. Those are the 2 you would name. And you just be like,
That's the 2 I would name. And I don't feel bad saying goodbye, because they're in the NBA. It's part of the business, and they're still getting paid. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, they're still getting paid. Everything's okay. I think most players, when they get drafted by or signed by a rebuilding team, understand it's probably not a. I think Kelly Olynyk knew when he signed a 3-year deal here, it probably wasn't going to be a 3-year deal. I mean, we just saw Mason Plumlee before that sign a 2-year deal, and we're like, oh, that's too much money. And then he flipped him and turned him into Kelly Olynyk. Then we say Kelly Olynyk, and we're like, 12.5? Isn't that a little much? Well, he flipped him, turned him into Bojan Bogdanovic. Thank you. Like, thank you so much. By the way,
Troy.
feel free to get him on your fantasy basketball teams. He does fill a stat sheet pretty well.
Oh, wow.
Good shooting percentages, good free throw.
Dude,
like, just enough rebounds,
this,
enough assists.
and you know what I love about the NBA versus the NFL? I was just thinking, this is like, you're not going to get those season enders typically. So where I'm going with this is, this team is just, because I'm thinking, well, we're not deep here. It's like, it doesn't matter as much, and you can just we're going to get a real good look at a team and players, because this, like, when you're evaluating a player and the guys around him aren't good, it's it's always like but it's like, man, this
How
is
can you
going to
get
be
an accurate
fun.
evaluation?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this would be really fun. I just,
it is.
this is going to be a great year. So let us know in the comments your thoughts on this trade, anything else, because we're like, okay, all of a sudden, we've been all hyped up on the Lions, and now it's like, good, Troy, give us a little juice. I
Give us a
love
little
it.
something. And I just want to be clear, like, we'll do more videos because the season's coming up. It's just around the corner. It's less than a month away. But, like, I don't think the Pistons are going to contend in the East to be like a top 6 team, or I don't even necessarily think they'll be a play-in team, because the East is just loaded. Like, there are 9 really good teams. But this is going to be a fun team to watch, because you have good vets that are in, like Bogdanovic and Burks. Like, these are guys that know how to play. Nerlens Noel. And then you have all this young talent around them. And it's the best blend since Troy Weaver has been here of youth and experience by far. This could be a fun team to watch.
It'll be fun. Yep,
It's going to
absolutely.
be fun at the minimum.
Let us know in the comments your thoughts. Make sure you subscribe. We'll get out of here for now. More Pistons videos coming. We'll see all of you on the next one.